I feel like there's no further elaboration that is needed. No one is currently watching, but that's alright. There's always a VOD. And me. Because I sometimes watch my own videos. Is it just me, or is this really blurry? Like... I guess not. Maybe I'm just tripping? Why are they all unsorted like this? Well, hey, I get to talk about Paper Mario first. So I haven't actually played that much of this one. I'd say it's solid A tier based off what people have said and what I've played. It seems like it's gonna be like... I know the story and like the places you go, mainly because of the Google Translated one. I used to fall asleep to that video. For some reason. Yeah, for some reason I did. Now, so yeah, I honestly don't know a whole lot about the game. Can't say much about it. But I think it's A tier. Thousand Year Door is one of my favorite games of all time, so that's instant S tier. A good question is, what are my favorite Nintendo game of all time? Super Paper Mario is another A tier. I'm not sure which one to put up, so I'm gonna put Super Paper Mario below Paper Mario. I don't care what people say. Super Paper Mario is really fun. It's different. It's if you came for like the other formula, then you won't like it. But it's really fun platforming. The story is, I feel like, is really great and really. I think it's like probably like the darkest Mario story ever in any of the games. I mean, Sticker Star, you already know. I haven't even played it, but just from what I've heard, it's F tier, obviously. I have not played most of these games, besides Mario 64. That's an easy S tier. I feel like I don't need to say a whole lot. Mario 64 is glorious open worlds. It's the first of its kind. Sure, the levels kind of seem... like, after a while, the levels start to get similar. Like, oh, wow, another snow level with a big snowman. Oh, wow, another water level, except this one has a little harbor area. And for some reason, the song is called Dar Dar Docks, even though it plays in Jolly Roger Bay first, which I don't have a problem with. It's just strange. Maybe because Dar Dar Docks sounds cooler. It's a better alliteration. I do like some alliteration. But yeah, it's a timeless classic. The graphics are a bit rough, but I mean, I'd say it's better than most games at the time in terms of 3D. Like Crash Bandicoot, I feel like looks way worse, but to be fair, PS1 didn't have as much powerful graphics. I was gonna say it looks better than Metal Gear Solid, but that's a very different game, and I feel like Metal Gear Solid 1 did the best with what it had. Mario RPG, I'd say, is a B tier. Now, don't kill me, but I just haven't played that much of the game, and it's alright. It's just nothing really is bringing me back. Thousand Year Door kept me with its awesome story and really fun gameplay. The gameplay's fun, it's just not all that, you know? Mario Paint, I mean, I feel like I would get the idea just by doing it. I feel like it's a good B tier. Does what it wants to do. Dr. Mario is D for Doctor. It's alright. I mean, C tier, it's alright. Nothing groundbreaking, but nothing... It does what it tries to do, be a fun little game. It's like a Tetris clone. And that same goes for Dr. Mario on Game Boy. And Dr. Mario 64, although that one has a story, so... putting it right in the middle here. I've played a little bit of Superstar Saga, but it's been so long I barely remember. However, I do like the story changes that the Mario and Luigi games make. And Bowser's Inside Story is really cool. Yeah, I played this version. It was alright. Olympic Games. They're okay. They're just okay. Like, I'd say they all are below... like, I just feel like there's so much variety that, like, who cares, you know? London Olympics were pretty good. I've never even played Rio Olympics. This is alright. Like, I heard Winter and Summer Olympics were fun in London and... what was it, Vancouver? Yeah, Vancouver. Where even is Sochi? I think Sochi is in China. But I'm happy they stopped the Mario Olympic series, though it would have been funny to see Paris this year. Mario World, I mean, I would give it the same ranking that I do the normal games, but I feel like it's kind of pointless to rank them, and that's Hotel Mario. F for funny. But the gameplay is just freaking awful. Like, I love the Hotel Mario memes. I grew up with the Hotel Mario memes on the good old internet. Like, freaking the YouTube poops. But that's all it's good for. The game is boring as heck. The graphics suck. The voice acting is something else, but again, that's part of the funniness factor. But the gameplay is boring. And the cutscenes are only fun to meme about, not really to actually watch. Like, on their own, unless someone's making fun of them or someone's making YouTube poops out of them. So we've made something good out of it, but still, the game itself just is it looks super boring. I've never played it. I can't get hold of a CEI. But I think the game should stay in the past. You gotta close all the doors. You just have to. Like, why? So you're trapping everyone in there? Just open it again. Mario Sunshine. My beloved. I love Mario Sunshine, and I feel like it's like, I can't tell if people don't like Mario Sunshine or if they just like to hate on it for the sake of hating on it, because it seems rather popular. It's just one of the more controversial 3D Mario games when it has most of the 3D Mario games have almost a spotless track record. Mario Sunshine is very unique. The levels may be similar. Base TTYD. I adore TTYD. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's my favorite RPG. Regular Paper Too High. I've never played Regular Paper, honestly. If I'm being honest, I've never played. No, I have played it. I'm like in the first chapter. The game crashed when I just talked to Merlin, and like the Koopa Bros show up in town, and then yeah, I just put it up there for the sake of putting it up there, to be honest. But maybe I should probably put it in I should take it off since I haven't played enough of it to really judge it. But as for Mario Sunshine, the game is so unique. I feel like it really does a lot with its concept. FLUDD is really fun to use. The levels are really unique. The only problem in my eyes is the controls. Because I love the voice acting. It's so corny and dumb, but that's exactly why I love it. The controls, it just feel like you slip and Mario falls into a pit, especially when you don't have FLUDD. It's fun, but it feels like you're fighting against the controls. They're just so sensitive, but also it feels like you can't control Mario. It's like they're too sensitive, you know? So without FLUDD to correct your jumps, like, yeah, it's like, here's the thing. It's beyond frustrating to play sometimes, but it's also really fun, and you feel like, this is fair, this is fun, but it's like, geez, can you have made the controls a little better? But like, I love the carnival level. That's such a unique level, even though it's frustrating as heck. Hello, Luna. The carnival level in Mario Sunshine is frustrating as heck, but it's also really fun. I really like the harbor level. I love Pianta Village, even though a lot of people hate on it because of how bullshit it is sometimes. Which, yeah, I guess, but it's just, it feels like the game was designed. It feels like the game was designed in a way that there's, like, that the controls, it feels like the game controls are way too sensitive. Like, I feel like at any moment you're gonna slip and fall and die. That's why you have FLUDD. But even controlling FLUDD can be a bit finicky. It's the controls that really put it down there. But still, I love Mario Sunshine. I'll defend that game to the day I die. Yes, even the corny voice acting. Yes, I love Bowser's voice acting. It's so dumb. Missing Mario's Time Machine. They tell history in a very unfun way, and that is that is an offense punishable by death. So, yeah. I mean, at least in Mario's Missing, we got Luigi in some platforming. and the Koopa Kids are for some reason in it. Oh my, Donkey Kong Country. So, I adore the Donkey Kong Country. I adore Donkey Kong Country more than words can describe, the whole series. 5 games, and I feel like there shouldn't be more than 5 because I feel like... Yeah, I just feel like... I mean, no, I feel like they should make another one. I just feel like... Monkey. I feel like Monkey. I just love Donkey Kong Country so much. The first one, I got introduced to it through the soundtrack, and... by God, the soundtrack is it's like heaven for my ears. Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and Tropical Freeze, the soundtracks especially, are all just heavenly. They're the best. Donkey Kong Country 3 it's like the soundtrack's like atmospheric, but also like it can be pretty intense, but it's the atmosphere. It really immerses you in each of the levels. 11-11, nice. But as for the gameplay, it's just phenomenal. And I feel like with all the Donkey Kong Country games, the difficult jungle hijinks go brr. You know, that's the song everyone points to, but I'm more of a fan of like aquatic ambience and Life in the Mines. And Gangplank Galleon is pretty popular, so that's not really an underrated song. Neither is Aquatic Ambience. Really, Life in the Mines and Aquatic Ambience and Gangplank Galleon are my favorite songs from that game. Jungle Hijinks just gets all the attention because it's like the main... It's like, it's what embodies Donkey Kong Country, the first game at least. Which makes sense, but then they like remixed it 9 times in Smash Ultimate. Mash Ultimate. Gangplank Galleon, hell yeah. Oh my god, I could literally talk about Donkey Kong Country for an entire day. I am not joking. Watch me, I'll do it. They'll also be I would love to just play through all the Donkey Kong Country games like a almost 24-hour long stream, except I gotta sleep. Eating is important. But yeah, there's even some of the more subpar tracks like not Life in the Mines, that's one of my favorites. Like freaking the Voices in the Mines and the Misty Menace, like they're still good. It's just it immerses you. It's that ambience. Oh yeah, Fear Factory goes hard. So does both snow themes for the Ice Cave and other outside Northern Hemispheres. Northern Hemispheres made me want to get a keyboard, and I have an electronic keyboard to this day. The Animal Buddies are really fun, especially on guard. It makes the water levels actually fun, which is something not a lot of games get away with. The Espresso is also pretty fun. And literally everything, but the only complaint I have is just, I mean, okay, so basically, like, the final world, Chimp Mines, or whatever it's called, Chimp Caverns, just feels like they're running out of time to make the game, but they want to make more levels, so they just add a bunch more cave levels, which is fine, you know? They're still very well-designed levels. It just feels like it's lacking a distinct theme and a bit weird as a final world. Like, Fear Factory world would have made a lot more sense. Yeah, the factory world would have made a lot more sense as the final world, but it just feels like they wanted to add more. But again, it's a pretty small complaint. And I like the graphics, like the CG, even though it's kind of creepy. It's charming. And yes, I know the Donkey Kong Country TV show is a thing, and I love how horrible that show is. But Donkey Kong Country 2 is literally one of my favorite games of all time. It fixed everything with Donkey Kong Country 1 that was even remotely bad. The only real complaint is that it costs money to save. Sure, it's not that much, but like, why? Whose ingenious idea was it to make you, like, get in-game, like, coins just to save the game? Jesus. I was so upset by that I actually, like, was trying to write myself a cheat code, like, keep reminding myself to write this cheat code to not have to pay to save. But literally everything else is almost perfect. And I almost forgot to mention, the bosses in Donkey Kong Country 1 suck. Donkey Kong Country 2, better bosses, although I don't like the King Bee boss or whatever it is. It's just shoot this guy with pebbles over and over until he dies, and he clones a bunch, and he's just moving around really quickly in a cramped space, and it's just really not that fun in my opinion. Maybe I'll warm up to it, but most of the fights in Donkey Kong Country 2 are really good. And just the level design is absolutely incredible. And the music, holy crap, is some of the best music known to man, and I'm not exaggerating. Stickerbush Symphony, one of the greatest songs of all time, period. You got Forest Interlude, it's very, Forest Interlude, In a Snowbound Land, freaking Hothead Bop, Mining Melancholy, instant classics of tunes, just all around. Donkey Kong Country 2 does not miss. And also the game is hard. The game will freaking test you. The only thing I feel is is unfair is to save the game. Saving the game shouldn't be something you have to pay for. It should be something you always have. I feel like restricting your ability to save is artificial difficulty and bad design, but everything else very wonderfully designed. Holy crap, how the frick do you remember all the music names? Because I'm kind of very much hyper fixated on Donkey Kong Country. I can list more, but I'm kind of blanking. But geez, the final boss of Donkey Kong Country 2 is legit one of the best final bosses I've ever played in video games. I mean, is this spoilers? I don't really consider it spoilers. It's in his Smash moveset. Captain K. Rool. Everything good about the first K. Rool boss fight is here. The song is banging. Crocodile Cacophony. They even brought it in Smash. And gave it a really great remix. And it's like, you have to hit him like 8 times, but every 2 hits, he just comes up with more and more stuff. And I swear, I died in this fight like 50 times, but every time I'm like, I gotta keep going. Unfortunately, I kinda didn't give myself water very much, which is bad. But yeah, it was one of the best bosses in gaming I've ever played. It was so fun, and it feels like the attacks aren't too crazy until like near the end. They're like, oh come on. But even those are fair. Like he shoots like smoke at you that reverses your controls. Like if it just takes some getting used to. But again, you don't even have to hit that smoke if you're good enough. You can just avoid it. The boss, again, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have tried it over like 50 times. I did a lot of those attempts in one night if it wasn't such a fun fight with banging music. And I haven't gone much for the side stuff because it's just too hard for me. Like the freaking Lost World is way too hard even for me, even though platformers are my specialty. And I love Celeste, but yeah, Celeste is great. Donkey Kong Country, Celeste, some of the best platformers out there, and complete with banging music. But yeah, even that, it's too much for me. Even with the freaking like rewinding and save state features on the Switch Online. Even though I do have the original games, and I love Donkey Kong Country 2 so much, I freaking sealed the game, because I had it, because Mooney gave me a seal for the game. He told me to like, I originally had it for like this game I barely played, but I'm like, I should use it, or he was like, you should use it for like your favorite game. So it doesn't look like it's anywhere around here. Actually, no, it's right here. Here it is. Even though in this version, I don't think I got to like World 2, and I couldn't beat the hot air balloon level for some reason. It's because I couldn't get the hot air balloons to move, but in the Switch Online version, I did get further, obviously. I was just talking about beating the final boss. I could talk about this game all day, just gushing about it. Every level and every song. But I need to move on. Donkey Kong Country 3. I just finished, like literally just finished. And I'd say it's the worst Donkey Kong Country game, but that's not saying much. It's still an incredible game. The worst part is by far the music. Because David Wise, the composer of Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and Tropical Freeze, is not there anymore. So the music just feels dead. Like, yeah, it's such a big difference. And it feels way too cartoonish. It misses a lot of that. Although, I was going to say it missed a lot of the atmospheric stuff, it's too atmospheric. There's no melody to follow like there was with the other games. Still, it has its charm, but I heard Donkey Kong Country 3 GBA's soundtrack is better, but I haven't heard a lot of it. I just beat the final boss, like, a couple days ago. It's, like, it's good, but it's so much waiting. It's like, alright, wait for K. Rool to move back and forth, like the senile crocodile he's become. Hit him, and then run over here and hit it. It's just so slow. Kiddy Kong is very questionable, like, it just feels like they're starting to run out of ideas, especially with all the side collectibles they get you to do, like banana birds and these bears that make you do side quests. Why? We didn't need that. I just feel like that was unnecessary. But it still has all the charm of the previous games, just a little dead. A little more dead than usual. But it's still a fantastic game, which is why it's so high. It's just, compared to the other ones, it pales in comparison to the other ones. But it's such a greatly designed platformer. They made the levels stand out from each other more. The bosses are way better, besides the final boss. Yeah. Let's see. I mean, listen, it's not that good, the arcade Donkey Kong. For the time, it was incredible, but the controls, it feels like Mario's being weighed down by, like, bricks or something. Like, he's being like, Mario jumps so little, and it's like, it sucks. Controlling the game just sucks. So that's why it's D. I heard Donkey Kong Country Game Boy is better, but I haven't. Donkey Kong Arcade Game Boy is better. I played Mario 64 DS for a while. It's alright. I'd say it's like C tier. From what I've played, at least. Oh my gosh, Donkey Kong Country. Please tell me Tropical Freeze is on here. That's one of my favorite games of all time. I love Super Mario 64 DS. Listen, don't take it personally. I barely played the game. I just hated the controls. But, like, I can totally get if you would, like, put it higher. It's all up to preference, honestly. I totally get if you like this game. It's just the controls. I just didn't like the DS controls. That's pretty much it. Everything else is pretty good. Alright. Oh my gosh. Donkey Kong Country Returns. I'd say this is definitely one of the best games. Is it S tier? I wouldn't say so, considering what it's going up against. And I'd say Mario 64 isn't as good as it. Hear me out, but it's S tier though, so yeah, it's better, just barely. Donkey Kong Country Returns, it's like, just Retro Studios in general, it's just an amazing making games. Yeah, I know it's gonna remake on Switch, I'm so pumped. I can't wait to torture my friends with it like normal. But no, like, seriously, the game is incredible. It has that, well, hold on, I'll get into the difficulty in a second. But it has that fair but really difficulty. The music, it takes a bit of a back seat, but it does remix a lot of old tunes, and some of the remixes are really good. The level themes also, I feel like, are like a bit generic. Like, I wish they variated a little in between levels, but like, it's barely an issue. Each level feels unique in its mechanics. Yeah, I feel like it does everything it sets out to do, so the volcano world is a bit basic as a final world. What country is this pink, white, and blue flag? That's Transamerica. The greatest nation in the world. Sorry, Luna was supposed to answer that. Oh, hey, Ronaldo. Hello. Hello, Dubby. Donkey Kong Country Returns is incredible, but like the volcano world as the final world is a bit basic. It doesn't really bother me all that much though. It's just, here's the thing. Am I the only one who finds like especially the volcano world to be like kind of unfair? Like the transgender flag. Yeah, so like the last few like for example, the rocket barrel and minecart levels, I feel like I can barely control what's happening. It's so chaotic, like in a bad way. I literally had to skip those levels. Yeah, I know, I'm a pussy, but give me some give me some credit. Um Freaking, it's so hard. And it feels so, it's just, the game just feels like it's like Mario Sunshine. It feels like you're about to fall at any moment. But normally it's not that bad. It's just, it feels like you're very fragile, if that makes any sense, especially in the last world. But not fragile in a good way. It feels like you don't have control over everything that you should have control of. And the final boss, I haven't even beaten Tiki Tong, even though I heard he's pretty easy, because the rocket up to the Tiki Tong Tower is so hard to me that every time I get up, by the time I get up there, I only have a few lives left, and then I die to some stupid like boy attack. And yo, Lemmiquid13 is playing FNAF 1 right now while watching this, and Freddy's doing a weird pose. I gotta go.